What's up, YouTube fans? Today I'm reviewing a very special figure, the KO Transformers Masterpiece Starscream. This figure is still kind of not out yet from TF Direct, but it is available on eBay. They are selling versions of this. I wasn't even sure if this was a real figure. I thought maybe this was, oddly enough, I thought this was actually the Takara version, and the seller was, trying to sell this off as a KO version, which seems kind of weird. You would think they would do the opposite. They would sell a KO version as an official, but I wasn't so sure, so I contacted the seller, and they told me this is a Takasa Tony, even though on here you see Takara Tomy. But we are going to go over some of the differences between the Takara Tomy and the Takasa Tony. And for the remainder of this review, we will have the official version on the left and the KO version on the right. Now, with the boxes, I'm going to back up a little bit here. With the boxes, they are different, slightly different. The image here is definitely not as glossy. It's a little bit of a darker gray, and kind of in general, it's pretty much a little bit darker. But when you come to the side, it looks identical. One thing I'm noticing is the Takara Tomy up here is a little bit thicker, and that's true on every side. The Takara Tomy is thicker. Very slight differences, but it's very hard to see. Not much differentiating these boxes. So that's actually unfortunate for collectors, because now we're not going to be able to tell the difference between this KO and the real thing without actually opening up the box. So we're going to open this up and take a look at, and hopefully there are differences with the actual figure. But so far, the box is very similar. Now this didn't have any kind of like trademark or anything on the bottom, because it's not a real vehicle. So there's nothing to differentiate it so far. So anyway, we'll get the box out of the way, and this is the KO version here. And we'll get it open, take a look at the tray. Now the tray also is very similar to the official, so I'm not going to take that out of the box. We'll just let you know that it's identical. There's not much difference. And what you see there, right away, if you're looking at the official figure kind of side by side, it does sort of look like a darker gray, but let's confirm that. I haven't even opened this thing up yet. You do get the collector's card and the manual here, so let's take a look at that. And this looks pretty much the same as the official. Now, this tape came off very easily, and that's usually an indicator that it hasn't been on there very long, because when I've opened up some figures that are older, like MP-11 and tried to take this off, it never comes off. It always rips the plastic. So that's a good indicator that this was packaged recently or more recently. But again, I still don't have a confirming difference here between the KO. But as far as the booklet, it looks like a exact copy of the original. Not much difference here, so I'll put that aside. Here's the collector's card. It is a very thin and cheap feeling, not very good quality, but again, yeah, it's KO, so that's what you're gonna get. Let's just get this guy open. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to untie this little rope here, which I believe was also on the official version. They did have this little rope. I'm just gonna cut it, because I don't really care. I'm not gonna keep it or anything. Alright, now we get the figure out here. So there is the KO Starscream. Also get out his shoulder pads, the pilot figure, crown and his cape. So we'll kind of set those off to the side there and get the box out of here. And right off the bat, it does appear to be darker. So we'll get the other figure in here side by side. So let's take a look and do a robot mode comparison first. So let's bring in both guys side by side. We'll take a look at the accessories in a minute. But first impression is that the plastic on the KO is a little bit darker. Oh, it looks like they didn't have these folded up. Hopefully this actually fits in here. This is a constant problem with the official release. Let's see if they fixed anything here or they made it better. I hope so. Well, not only is it not better, it doesn't even fit. Wow, that's not good. Oh, yeah, it doesn't even fit. So what it looks like, the plastic is just a little off. The ratchets are also very soft on this guy. They're definitely not as tight as they are on the the Takara version. They do feel a little bit loose. Yeah, and the plastic is kind of, yeah, it's a softer feel to it. So it looks like they fixed the sliding chest problem, but they made it so tight that now you can't even get this thing out. You can't get it down. Oh, and I pulled his head off. There you go. Yeah, this is extremely tight, very hard to move. Let's see if I can get it to loosen up a little bit. Okay. All right, so I've got it. I got it up. Now let's see if we can get it back down. It looks like it's the same, essentially the same design. 2 screws that are extremely tight this time. Kind of the opposite of what we had with the Takara version. All right, so let's see if we can get this back in. Finally got it down there, and it's got some of the same issues, you know, as far as aligning up. It's not perfect, and it's very tight, so you kind of have to have it all perfect before you push it down. Oh, I'm struggling here. Yeah, the tab, it doesn't want to go all the way down, so getting this tab in is probably not an option. Alright, I've pushed it about as hard as I can without breaking it, and it's not going, so we're going to give up on that. We'll get everything else situated here. We'll get the wings in. It looks like they popped in on this side. Let's see if we can get this side to pop in. They're not exact aligned, so you kind of have to push it in. You can't get it to pop. There you go. We'll get his head back on here. Okay. Alright, well, some weirdness with this guy. But once you get him situated, maybe it's a little better. So, it's kind of wobbly up here, and that's not impressive at all. I really thought this would fix the issues that the Takara version had, and actually it looks like it might even be worse. I think it is worse, actually. Oh, man. Well, a lot of the same problems, and that's disappointing already. That they couldn't fix some of these issues, and it kind of goes to show you that this wasn't a great mold to begin with, you know. All right, so for comparison between these two guys, we'll kind of give you a overview. It is a slightly darker gray on the plastic. Sorry about that. You can tell I'm getting frustrated again with this figure. I don't know if anyone watched my original review of this Masterpiece Starscream from Takara, but I was pretty frustrated. I'm actually just as frustrated with this, maybe more so, because I was hoping they'd fix a lot of the problems, and they really haven't. The wing thing is a little bit better, you know, the loose wings kind of falling off the figure, but then again the plastic is kind of soft, so it doesn't do much. And then you've got this floppy top half because you can't get it to sit like the Takara one does. There's also some alignment things going on, and I'm not really happy with that either. Oh man, yeah, not great, not great. So let's take a look in here. That does look the same. Extremely tight. Every joint is extremely tight on the KO, except where it matters, like this. As far as any other color differences, I don't see too much. The paint pretty much looks the same on both. They're identical, I would say. But the plastic quality is definitely different. And, the KO obviously feels cheaper. I can just tell by touching the plastic that it's a cheaper plastic. It's kind of mushy. This one's a little bit nicer, although still not great. You also get a lot of this swirling, and there's swirling in the Takara one too, but because of the color of the plastic and the softness of it, it looks worse on the KO. Just take a look down here. The boosters appear to be pretty much the same. So that's about it for the figure. Now, I don't know if I can get this to be better or not. We'll take a look at that when we do transformation to see if we can maybe loosen that up a tiny bit. But as far as the figures, they do appear to be very similar other than plastic differences. Now we'll take a look at the accessories. I just got to get out the Takara version here. The first thing we'll do is compare the shoulder covers. So here is the KO and here's the Takara version. They do look very similar in color and quality. And paint. The orange on the Takara is slightly different, but very close reproduction. Very hard to tell the difference between these two. Maybe the purple's a shade darker, but still very, very close. If you take a look at the crown here, they are also extremely similar. Not much difference. A little bit of slop on the paint for the KO. But again, as far as design, it's obviously an exact copy. They both seem to fit just fine. Let's take a look at the shoulder blades and see if they fit. Okay, so those appear to fit. Not very tight, but they do appear to fit. If you push it, it's gonna move. All right. Well, this is plagued with a lot of the same problems, and I got this for $127, $130 roughly, and I was really hoping it would fix a lot of the issues with this figure, and so far I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any improvement. Let's see how these guys fit. Yeah, so these shoulder blades they're just a smoother fit, and they look about the same. Well, the purple's a little bit darker here, but as far as the looks, they're pretty much the same. All right, now we'll take a look at the capes. Here's the KO, and here's the official. Again, they are extremely similar, not much difference. Even the joint is pretty much the same. So let's get it on there and see how it looks. I was never a fan of how this thing mounted on him. It's kind of cheap and flimsy, but that's the design. Right, so here's the official. And here's the KO. Take a look and see how this fits. And that fits just as well. The joints are just as loose, same problems. It doesn't stay up. So nothing new there. As far as quality, both are pretty much the same. One thing I did notice here is the face sculpts. While they are the same, the KO is a slightly darker gray gunmetal. And that seems to be true for kind of all the paint. It's all slightly darker on the, yeah, and this is a problem. The waist is just too floppy to hold up the back. That's really irritating. All the joints down here are real soft. The ratchets are soft compared to the KO. You know, these actually click, and so they're strong enough to hold him up. Despite the other issues, they're actually strong enough to hold him up, but the ratchets are just too weak on the KO to make him stand up straight. So he's actually leaning back. All right, and the last little accessory here is the little pilot, and they do look extremely similar. If anything, the Takara one is a little more opaque than the KO. The KO is pretty much clear. But as far as molding, they look identical. I can't tell any difference. This one feels a little bit harder plastic. This is a little softer. But that's about it. So accessory-wise, pretty similar. I don't find any difference in the capes. These are slightly different color, but quality-wise pretty similar, and these are pretty much the same. So we'll get these guys transformed into vehicle mode and then do a comparison, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back from transforming, and I was very surprised about this figure. It really didn't meet my expectations, and it's a first for me because all along I've said these KOs are, you know, at least as good quality, if not better, than the official. And they usually transform very well, and they don't, I mean, there's maybe some minor paint detail issues, something like that, but as far as the quality of the figure, sometimes they even fix things from the original figure. But this guy, I'm sad to say, does not do anything. And let me kind of show off some of the issues. For one, there's some fitment problems. So the plastic is very soft, and what that that causes things to kind of not be loose and not want to like lock in place, and you don't get that satisfying click when you put things together. It just kind of is mushy, and that's very unsatisfying, especially when you're transforming this guy who needs to click into place, and he doesn't. He doesn't click into place. He's got little loose, joints here and there. The whole nose cone is kind of loose. It just kind of falls apart. I haven't even actually tried to take this off. Let's take a look and see. It looks like it's totally screwed up here. Yeah, the joint to get in there. Yeah, I don't want to break it, but it's got some kind of problem. So everything is soft and mushy and doesn't want to stay where you put it. Even the wheel here, it's kind of floppy. So if you roll, oh sorry, I had to land gear down. If you roll forward, it's fine. You roll back, it wants to fall. This is the original. Does not do that. No problems. So that is actually worse. The landing gear is worse. This is a common problem, this pops off, but getting the wheel out of the cavity, because again, the plastic is so mushy, the paint is not great, gets stuck in there. So I would say it's actually worse quality than the Cara on all fronts. Paint, fitment, plastic quality, look and feel. I mean, even the look and feel, the plastic on the gray, because it's a darker gray, the swirls on here show up much more than they do here. And this is pretty shocking, because to date I've never seen a KO that was worse. And the little guy does fit in there, but who cares? That doesn't really solve any of these issues. Yeah, as I was transforming this also, things didn't really want to click into place or fit together. It was kind of just pushing together, and it never really sat together right. You can still kind of see there's a lot of gaps in the panels. So I cannot recommend this figure to collectors. Unfortunately, it's just too poor of a quality. And I've been told this is Takasatoni, but I can't confirm that. Oh, by the way, the nose cone has a shinier plastic than the original. And I don't know if that's coming out across camera. This is more of a matte gray. This is a shiny silvery gray. But again, doesn't do much for me if the quality's worse. So I'm going to sell this thing back. In fact, I'm going to ask for a return if I can, because it's so shitty. But I definitely don't recommend this for people who are looking to replace their Masterpiece Starscream. This was $130, quite expensive for a KO. And the last KO that I got, the Grimlock figure, was outstanding. Like, just an amazing figure. It was almost like they went out of their way to make it better than the original. And this one, it's like they've done nothing. They've done no work to improve it from their previous release. And that's kind of sad. And I wish, I know that the KO companies don't necessarily have anything to prove, but they could at least make figures that are just as good, not worse. Because what's my incentive in buying this? I'm saving $70, but it doesn't really transform right. So that's it for today, guys. Sorry for the letdown on these KOs, but I definitely don't recommend buying them. I hope that they come out with a better version of it, a little bit better quality, maybe even change up the mold a little bit to make it better. But as it is, I can't recommend this to you guys. I will be reviewing the Masterpiece Ratchet figure. I'm just waiting for that to come in. We also have the Omnigonics spin-out figure that will be coming. That's going to be one of my first third-party, other than Apollyon. That's going to be my only other third-party figure. And finally, we're going to review the Doctor Wu mixer truck, which replaces the Devastator mixer truck that comes with the set, as that was a pretty weird looking figure. So you have all that to look forward to in the next month or two. So hope to see you next time. Please leave me comments, subscribe, and like, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.